Okay, this procedure for re-indexing the torsion bars is same for all Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pajeros. The car we'll be doing it on today is NL Lister Guard, the last of the Gen 2s. So yeah, hope this video can help a few people out. Okay, so the tools you'll be needing for this job, basically all you need is two 17mm spanners to do the job. Optional to make your job a lot easier, some kind of penetrating oil, wire brush, white pen or marker pen, a torch, and a rattle gun with a 17mm socket. But all these are optional, you can do the job just with two spanners. Okay, rookie mistake before. I had the waterproof cover on the GoPro, which means the sound's probably pretty rubbish for the first bit. So hopefully the sound will either be okay, or I'll have to record the sound back over the top. But yeah, rookie mistake. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is locate the torsion bar adjusters. So here we see torsion bar running half the length of the car, torsion bar saddle, and the adjuster. So what we're going to do first up is we're going to take our wire brush, if we've got one. We're going to give these threads a really good clean up so there's no crap on them, and then we can make a start on undoing them. Okay, once that's all nice and cleaned up, get your CRC or any kind of similar spray, and you're just going to spray the threads. Alright, now we need to crack the lock nut off. So get your two 17mm spanners. I find this easier if you work one from each side. So I'm going to come from the front on the bottom nut, and then I'll come from the top on the lock nut and try and crack the lock nut open. These can be pretty tight. Once you've got the lock nut cracked, if your threads are clean and you've got some CRC on there, you should be able to wind the lock nut all the way off by hand. Nice and easy. One lock nut. So now if you've got a rattle gun, this is the easy bit. If not, you need to put a bit of effort in to get this bolt undone. But because I got a rattle gun, it's spanner on the top, rattle gun on the bottom. And when the torsion bar is fully detensioned, oh shit, that's hot. Be careful if you're using a rattle gun, because you'll generate a bit of heat. Screw the lock nut off. Sorry, not the lock nut, the adjuster nut. Pull the bolt out. And now the torsion bar should just be hanging loose. And now we can go up to the front and do the re-indexing. Alright, so now we're down the front. Torsion bar, lower control arm, and then you've got like a little bracket where the torsion bar goes into the lower control arm. This has splines inside here, so there's a rubber boot and it should have grease in there. If there's no grease in there, you might have a bit of a drama because it might be seized up. But basically, you want to pull the rubber boot back like so, and I'll just bring the camera up in a sec. Wipe the grease off of there. And basically what you've got is the torsion bar already has a white line on there from the factory, and I don't know if you can see on the video, there's a bit of a notch right there. So it looks like these have actually been adjusted before. Whether they adjust them at the factory to suit or whether someone's been in here and played around, I'm not sure. But I'm going to make my own marks just so it's a lot easier to see what we're doing. So this is where your marker pen comes in handy. I'm just going to pop that down. And a white pen, obviously because we're working on black, is going to make it a lot easier. So I'm going to mark that where the original mark was. And I'm going to mark my torsion bar like so. Alright, so now what we need to do is we need to try and slide the torsion bar out, and then we need to rotate it. Now depending on how much height you want to go, you can rotate one spline, you can rotate two splines. Because the torsion bars on this, you might not have noticed when we first started the video, but the torsion bars were wound right up on this, hence the reason when I undid the bolt there was a lot of threads before the bolt came undone. So because these were wound fully up to start with, I'm going to go two splines on this one. So basically you need to grab the torsion bar at the front, get your arm at the back and slide it out. Try not to drop it, try and slide it so it's just out, like so. And then basically I'm going to turn it one spline, two splines, and slide it back in. So as you can see now the lines don't line up because we've moved it two splines. The key to this is on the driver's side you turn the bar anti-clockwise, and on the passenger side you turn the bar clockwise. So basically what happens is as you turn the bar, this saddle, we're moving it down. So it's coming down on this side and then down on the passenger side. That way we've got more space to wind it up, if that makes sense. Once you put it back together and wind everything up, it'll make a lot more sense. Alright, so now that that's back in, we can slide the rubber boot down, slip it on there, give that a wipe down, and that should keep all the dirt and water from getting inside there. So now we're going to go down the back and we're going to put all this back together. Alright, so we got the nut there. I'm going to put a little bit of CRC in there, because obviously as you turn it, that moves. I'm going to put some on threads. So now what we need to do is get the nut, the bolt, sorry, get the adjuster nut, put that in there. So that only goes one way. If you get that around the wrong way, you'll know it's wrong. So pop that in there, push the bolt up through the hole. Now this is where we might get a problem, because basically we've wound that down, so now we can't get that back up. So what we're going to need to do here is get some kind of jack under there to push that up, and then we can get the bolt on.
Daddy, are you talking to yourself?
No, Adisha, I'm not talking to myself. I'm trying to make a video.
Oh, sorry.
Which you're kind of disrupting, if that's okay.
Sorry.
Do you think I'm crazy and I talk to myself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you think I'm crazy?
Well, not really crazy, like a little bit crazy.
Oh, okay, thank you. Alright, well, don't be talking because I'm trying to make a video.
Okay.
And you're already interrupting it. Alright, so now we've got that up enough. Make sure you got at least 5 threads or so, because you don't want to be pulling the threads out. So I'm just going to screw this back on by hand now. Actually, before I screw it on, I should have mentioned it earlier. There's a washer that sits in the top, flat on the top and domed on the bottom. Now that should actually stay in place, but I'm mentioning this now just in case you happen to knock it out of place. If you try and put it back together without that on, you're probably going to have dramas. So that sits on top, and then the nut goes on top like so. I'll pop that back in. Pop the nut on. Screw the nut down. Again, the nut should go on nice and freely by hand if you put some kind of CRC or something on. If you're lucky enough to have a ratchet spanner, comes in handy right now, just to wind this down a few turns. Alright, once you've got that fully on, we can let the jack down. Alright, and now we can wind this up. We're not going to go too much. We'll adjust the height at the end. But basically what we're going to do is wind it most of the way up so we can make a start on the other side. So spanner on the nut up top, 17mm, just wind it on in. Alright, I'm going to leave it just below level, make a start on the other side, then when the other side's done we'll crack on with actually adjusting the height of the car. Alright, so I'll just come to do the passenger side, and I don't know if you can see on the video, but the original mark actually lines up with the mark on the housing. So that one is lined up original, that one had been adjusted. Now what a lot of people do is when the driver's sat in the vehicle, the driver's side can sag down a little bit if the suspension's a bit old and worn. So what I'm guessing is someone's taken that one spline adjustment previously to counteract for driver weight and wear and tear on this side, because that one is still the original mark. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust that, and then we'll get on with actually setting the ride height of the vehicle. Alright, so I got both sides re-indexed, and I got the nuts and bolts connected and wound up a bit. Now I still got the lock nuts, they're pretty much the last step we do once we've got everything set. So I'm just going to pop them to one side, going to take the stands out, put the car down, drive it back and forwards a few meters, and then we're going to take a measurement just for reference. Okay, so make sure the car's on level ground. Not actually looking too bad at first sight. I don't know if it'd sit too high, sit too low. It's a little bit higher at the front than at the back, but I haven't done the lift to the back yet. So the idea was do the fronts, just get them roughly set to wherever, do the backs, and then bring the fronts up to match. Alright, so there's lots of different ways that people measure. A lot of people measure from the centre of the hub to the bottom of the wheel arch. The reason for doing that is it gives a true indication of sort of how much lift you've got, depending on what size wheels you've got, what size tyres. This ain't a competition for I've got more lift than you. I basically just want to reference side to side. So I'm going to go from the top lip of the rim to the bottom of the arch. So try and keep it nice and central in the wheel. Keep it nice and straight up to the arch. And we've got just over 34 centimetres there. Pop down the other side. Measure this one up. And we've got just over 35 centimetres there. So if we had 34 on this side and 35 on the other side, I'd probably leave it at that, because I always put the driver's side slightly higher to allow for that driver weight. Because we've got this side slightly higher than the driver's side, I'm going to leave this side, because over the next couple of days it's probably going to settle and that gap's going to be smaller. So I'm going to wind the torsion bar up on the driver's side, maybe take it 5 turns, 4 turns, something like that. We'll see how we go. Alright, so we're around at the driver's side now. I got my white pen, and what I'm going to do, if I can do this and you can see at the same time, I might have to just drop the camera for now. I'm going to draw a line down here. So come back around. You see I've drawn a line with a white pen. So now I can count the number of turns quite easily. So let me see if I can just pop the camera up. Oh, I can see that. Hopefully you can see that there, I'm not too sure. So again, doing this with the spanners works fine. If you've got the tools, just makes your life easier. So spanner on the nut. Around the front there. Rattle gun on. Looking at my reference light. Oh, I'm stuck. I'm gonna go 5 turns, I think, because we don't want to bring it level. We want it to be higher. So just looking at the white line and counting the turns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm gonna go 6. 6. So we've done 6 turns on that. So now let the car down, measure it again, and basically it's a bit of a farce, but you just keep letting the car down, drive it back and forth, measure, jack it up, adjust, lay it down, keep going until you're happy with the height, and basically that's how to re-index and adjust your torsion bars. I hope this video helps a few of you out. Feel free to leave comments or questions if you're not sure about anything, and yeah, good luck.